Hi guys, hello, Dr. Justin Berta, Potato Business Doc. Sorry, whenever I hear about compliance, I always want to just like smoke a packet of 20 and have a stiff gin and tonic. But compliance is becoming a big thing, and businesses getting it wrong and end up getting ARD registered, or they fall behind with things, stuff like that, or they don't register when they're supposed to be registering, all these kind of things. Now, business got to be aware that compliance is not just SARS, but it's CIPC, it is workers' compensation, it's the Labour Department. There is so many things happening because people are walking around. The Labour Department is walking around from business to business and catching up people that got staff working there that's not paying you out, that's not paying pay as you earn. They don't have employment contracts, they don't have this, they don't have that, they don't have. It's non-compliant, and they will give you a notice, and you've got 28 days. I think that's about 28 days to solve your problems, or you're going to be penalised from here to kingdom come. If you've got a salary bill that exceeds 500,000 rand a year, you have to register for SDL. Anybody that earns the income, they're entitled to UIF, and you've got to pay those benefits. And people forget it's now extended to people working on farms and your domestic work and your gardener, everything else. You've got to register on SARS, you filing, and you've got to pay it over, so that it protects your staff from life as such. COIDA, the workers' compensation, that's taken out so that, if something happens to your staff while on duty, you have this safety net, and the workers' comp is supposed to be paying for all the medical bills and everything else, and rehabilitation, and if the person dies, they pay out. The person can't work anymore, they pay out. All these lovely things. Obviously, you know what? I'll tell you one thing: when you start applying for this, get ready. Hold on to your panties, baby. It's gonna be a lacquer ride because I'll tell you, I've never had so many problems in my life when it comes to maternity leave benefits, paternity leave, people getting hurt, and everything else, because it is a battle royale that you have with the Labour Department. Trust me, it is up and down, this way, that way, and it's crazy. But again, that's Labour. So the Companies Intellectual Property Commission or whatever, CIPC, guys, there's annual returns. These annual returns are due on the date or the month your company was registered every year. Failure to comply with that, it means that they will start deregistering companies, because they view companies that's not compliant with the annual returns as companies that are not trading. Now listen closely. If you go into that and they finally deregister you will not be able to re-register your company if there's no trading taking place, which means you're going to have to supply bank statements to prove that you are literally trading. Or if it's a property holding company, you've got to provide them with the deeds and everything else. And if there's a finance on the property, everything else, you've got to provide them with proof. You've got to provide them with proof that your company is operational, holds assets or something. If you can't do that, they will not register your company again. Listen very clearly. They will not. So then you're going to have to go and register a new company, all those kind of things. And trust me, it is a disaster. And they've gone from manual processes to email to online. Then online didn't work well, then it went back to email, and now they're back on online, and now they've got a complaints portal. They've got this, they've got that, they've got this, they've got that. It would be lovely if it all worked, but they get linked with Home Affairs, and if Home Affairs are down, CPIC is down, because they cannot confirm people's ID numbers or passport numbers, or that people exist, stuff like that. It becomes a nightmare. And there's OTPs, there's all sorts. So your register details need to be correct. It has to be checked on an ongoing basis, everything else. And on top of that, the CPIC also want to know who the beneficial owners are of companies. The same thing with SARS. When you fill out an IT14, they ask who's the beneficial owners, and you've got to answer. And beneficial owners are not necessarily shareholders. Not necessarily shareholders. It's the person sitting right at the end of the line that's actually earning all the money, or the benefit of the company is solely for their purposes. So if you've got a trust, it would be the beneficiaries of a trust. If that trust holds the shares, it would be the beneficiaries. So be very mindful. It all gets declared, and that's how SARS then gets the information, so that they can go after the people that actually earn the money, and not necessarily people that is on the paper. So I do understand how beneficial ownership work, and it's a yearly thing. Same with the Poppy Empire Act, that we've got to report to the information regulator. It's an annual return. It's now yearly. I thought it would be once off, but no, we've got to do it yearly now. So lovely. That's another compliance thing. So it's just getting better and better. So, confirmation of statutory registrations. Ensure that your business is registered for everything, including SARS taxes, income tax, VAT, pay-as-you-earn, SDL, UIF, everything that needs to be done. If you need to belong to Quetta, make sure Quetta, or there's this Rand Mutual guys, RMA, Rand Mutual Assurance Company, which is trying to help out the Workmen's Compensation Commissioner in terms of certain industries. They just manage it much better because it's a third party, it's a private organization. Then your beneficial ownership declarations. Then you've got to understand that you've got to maintain a compliance calendar. You need to understand when your monthly MP201s need to be submitted. All the other payroll-related tax contributions, your CPIC returns, compensation returns. There's due dates, guys, and if you submit it past the due dates, there's penalties and interest, and it just becomes a nightmare. Maintain organized records. Now, I'll tell you that most people got it stuck in their head that they've got to keep things 5 years, especially when it comes to receiver revenue. Quite frankly, I know that when I say tax returns and supporting documents, 5 years, accounting records, 15 years, financial statements supporting accounting records, 15 years, auditors' working papers, 5 years, employee contracts and wage records, 3 years. Trust me, that 3 years, that's bullshit, because when you go to UIF officers claim, they want the person's full employment history and all the pay that salary that's been paid on a nice little spreadsheet. That's what they want, because their records are so far behind in such chaos that it is on you. And trust me, that person's been working for 20 years. It's going to be an interesting experience. Health and safety incident reports, 5 years, and share registers and resolutions and company and secretarial stuff, that's indefinite. You keep it until everybody is pretty much dead and no longer alive. But the Tax Administrations Act, this is the act governing all acts in tax, or the administration of taxes. Let me correct that. States that the SARS can go back lifelong. Now, lifelong is an argument between 25 and 30 years. And I've had a matter which came up in 2013, where SARS went back to 1991. Now you get the laws of prescription involved, and I mean it starts getting to be a legislative nightmare. But I think my lucky stars that my client was so diligent, he never threw away anything. He literally put containers down in his workshop yard, and his documents were well preserved and kept in those containers. And trust me, I advise my clients to no longer throw away anything. Nothing. You don't throw away nothing. Because SARS will come back and say, and I've had this, all of a sudden when you do personal income taxes, all of a sudden people's 2007 tax return is missing. We're in 2025, guys. How the hell is 2007 not submitted? How the hell is 2008 not? Or 10, or 11, 15. And I'm like, this is a lot of years back. People aren't going to have those records. I don't even think SARS got those records. Well, guess what they do? But they test you. And I think there's a lot of hiccups in the system, so information is lost. So, guys, you can no longer throw away information. You can't. Not as a business owner. Please just don't. Make sure that you're compliant with all payroll requirements. SDL, UIF, pay-as-you-earn, all the bargaining council levies, all the bargaining council stuff. Make sure that you're in compliance with that. And, guys, you've got to be very mindful because the penalties are ridiculous. If you're employing foreign nationals, make sure they've got work permits. If they don't, that's an immediate 250,000 Rand fine. And it is happening, guys. Also, I've seen the Labour Department issue fines for bigger companies because they've got no compliance whatsoever when it comes to their HR contracts, policy procedures, timekeeping, all those kind of things. They don't have it in place. And it's big companies. It's not small Mickey Mouse companies, but people just do things on the fly. So, guys, you don't need to step into that thing. They literally got a 10% off turnover fine from Department of Labour, and that's a lot of money when you've got a 100 million Rand operation. You know, that's 10 million Rand. That's a hell of a lot of fine. And it's now being fought and debated and everything else. But at the end of the day, if you're wrong, you are wrong. That is the reality. If you're wrong, you are bloody well wrong. Make sure you're compliant. Make sure the minimum. Go overhog. Go overhog. Kill it. Murder it. Hit it with a jackhammer if you have to. But make sure you're compliant. As always, guys, got your back. And I'll see you in the next session. Everything will be okay. Thanks, guys.